welcome. This is going to be my new Path of Exile series. Path of Exile is a free game that my friend found off Steam a while back. I haven't played it for a while, but the Path of Exile: The Awakening is what this version of it is now called. The Awakening is basically just the expansion of Path that's in. So I play off Steam, so I'm not going to have to log in. So with Steam, it'll just log you in with your Steam account. Sometimes the servers can be a little up and down because it is a free game. So I have a few characters, but I will not be playing them today because I would love to start a new character in this newly warbands. Warbands is hostile warbands have spread through Ray class. Slay them for a chance to find unique items. When Warbands ends, its character will become a standard character. So if you don't know this game, there's basically two main game modes. There's the standard, then there's the hardcore. The hardcore characters in this game, if you die with a hardcore character, it'll immediately go back to standard. And you have separate inventories in standard as you do in hardcore. So what they do is they have one standard league and one hardcore league, which is basically just versions of standard and hardcore. So I have not played a character in either of these, so I will not have anything in these. Each of these have their separate inventories as it is, I believe. I could be wrong because I haven't played this in a while. But from what I believe is these will have their separate inventories. So, let us get into this. So the six main classes you're going to have at the beginning are the Templar, the Shadow, the Marauder, the Ranger, the Duelist, and the Witch. And then after you beat the game, you will unlock the Scion. So what happens in this game is there's three different main classes, or main attributes. There's going to be strength, dexterity, and intelligence. Strength is physical damage, like if you shoot an arrow, it's going to do the physical damage, or if you hit with the two-handed weapon, it's going to do physical damage. Dexterity is going to be speed, chance to dodge, and basically ranged abilities, or attacking faster, and then intelligence is basically the magic, any spells or anything like that. But the cool thing about this is it's going to have a large skill tree. It is not going to like one small skill tree per person. All the skill trees are connected, so you can do anything. You could do combinations of all three if you really wanted to, but it's normally better to keep it to 1 to 2 combinations. So like you could go dex and strength, dexterity and intelligence, strength and intelligence. But what I'm going to probably be doing is I'm going to be playing an Ice Shot Ranger. The only problem with this game is it doesn't allow you to have numbers in your name, so I'm probably just going to name my person Ice Shot ABC. I probably won't get Ice Shot for a while, but I still would want to play it, play around with it and see what happens early game. So each skill color will represent something. Red represents strength nodes, green represents dexterity, and blue would represent the intelligence. So basically it just revolves around what it mainly needs to level up. So I could use any of these colors right now. And as you go on, you'll get more in depth with these. And then there's the life potion, or life flasks, and there's the mana flasks. These will recharge every kill. With every kill, you would get a little back, but it won't be enough to use until it gets a percentage full. So that's how this game goes. So these you don't need to use flimsily, but you don't need to use it sparingly, obviously, because you have an infinite amount of it if you keep killing things. So you just have to learn how to use it appropriately. And dexterity will also affect the amount of times you'll actually hit them, or the accuracy. Now I can't use this yet because it's unidentified, which means I would have to have a scroll of wisdom, which I do, because it gives you 3 from the start, and then you identify it, and then it gives you 14% accuracy. So I would actually prefer that over the current bow, because the current bow doesn't give me anything at all, except it has 3 nodes instead of 2, but I don't need the other nodes right now. And then the bow I have now is actually going to be a linked bow, as you can tell by this little link right here. That is going to affect how these two interact with each other. If you have a support blue node, it will help out whatever green node you have here. So overall the linked sockets are better, but if you don't need them, then a lot of the times you wouldn't want to link them up, because a lot of the times when you link, they normally cost more mana to cast. So it's a pro and con, but there always has to be a con when something supporty is involved. So this first area is basically just me going around trying to kill everything, get as much XP as I can, because you can't come back to this first area until you're in the next difficulty, which you unlock the next difficulty by beating this on the main difficulty first. So I always just try and pick up everything I can out of this area first time through. You don't have to do that, it's just a personal preference, because you can find things like the Orb of Transmutations or anything good. This is the tree I was talking about. This is a humongous tree. There's some new things I haven't seen on here in a while. I do not know what the jewel sockets are, so I will be exploring this at the same time as everybody else is. So I will figure out what these do, and next time I will get back to you on that. But since I am a ranger, I start right here in the dexterity nodes. So normally what I do is I play an ice shot crit, which means I'm going to be using an ice shot skill while getting crit nodes on here to sustain and kill enemies a little bit faster. So I normally, instead of going the evasion life route, which doesn't give you much because it only ends up melee or melee damage or more evasion and life, I normally go the attack speed and accuracy and then the projectile damage, because I'm going to be using a bow, so the projectile damage is mainly what I'm going to be using. And so I'll be aiming for this ballistic mastery right here, which these are the bigger, more important nodes that you can hit throughout the game, or the second biggest. The biggest are going to be these nodes over here. Anything with a big full circle around it, golden circle, means that it has a big pro, but it will also have a small con, or a big con. It just depends what you're looking for in it. So, like Arrow Dancer, 40% more chance to evade projectiles. If I'm going full evade, that's really good, but 30% less chance to evade melee attacks. So that means you always want to just stay back and not do anything to put yourself in the melee damage range. And the reason why I like to get all the kills here too is not just for the item, it's for the XP, because like you saw, I just leveled up. It puts me in a better spot for the rest of it. But in there are leagues that you're competing with other players who can get the fastest, the farthest. This is not always or this is basically not ever the most reliable way to level up. It's normally not the fastest, it's just something that I personally like doing. Because I like playing through the game. It's something that will always go through me because I like to learn the story with the game as well. So I always try and find all the story throughout the game and why or why not I would like the game in terms of the story. And this honestly was a lot bigger than the last time I played it. The last time I played it, it was super small, and you could get through it with like 5 minutes. Or not 5 minutes, like maybe a minute. But now it's actually taking me a while to get through it. They've improved this game a lot since I last played it too. So hopefully we will be learning together and playing it along as it goes and see where this takes us. Okay, your gems can also level up, and they will cost. The reason why you level them up is they do more damage, but the con is they require more, more like mana to cost. Like it costs 5 now if I level it up. Still cost 5, but some of them will cost more mana, or they will cost require more dexterity or intelligence or strength to actually cast it, which might be a problem if you're trying to switch off between characters. Because if you're trying to switch off between characters, you're not going to want it too high. Or if you're on a different account just leveling it up for one of your characters, then you need to be wary of how much you level up. And then another thing about this game is superior items. Superior items are basically, they will have quality on them. And quality just means they're better items. And you can sell quality of 40 items, 40% items. Like if I had an item that's 20, an item that's 15, and an item that's 5, I could trade all those items in for something that is or a quality gem based on what I give it, but they all have to be of the same type. Like they all have to be of weapons or of armor. So this is really good because it's going to be give me physical damage plus the crit chance already, and then I also get 3 life gained on kill and 1 mana gained on kill. Something that's hard to get with the build that I have previously tried was mana back. So I always have to carry around some mana potions, which in game you normally don't try and carry any mana potions because there's so many better potions that you could use in the end. Hillick normally doesn't require too much. You can stand here, use a couple potions, first run through and just kill him, not a problem. He drops average loot most of the time. It's not great, it's not bad, but he's the first boss in quotation marks you encounter. This bow is really good early game, but I am probably gonna stick with this bow just because it gives me the physical damage and lifesteal. You don't have to identify every item, by the way. I should actually probably stop identifying the items because it takes away Scrolls of Wisdom, which I'm actually going to need at some point. The reason why I switched those out right there is because dexterity is going to be one of my main things. So I used the green node, or I'm going to probably be using the green node more than I will the blue nodes.
Lion-Eye's watch isn't much.
You can control click and it will place everything in there for you, and this is basically what you're accepting the trade for. You can sell these to other players for probably for more, but I just normally sell them. I don't try and Sell to players because I don't feel it's necessary for me to have fun with the game. These green tabs up here are something that I bought for this game. It's just to keep my gems separate. Like, you'll see I named this one red and then color it red. And this one blue, color it blue. And this basically just keeps my gems separate, and then I will have my quality armor and my quality weapons, and then I still have one more, so I will actually probably name this quality flasks. Quality flasks slash gems. Quality flasks and gems don't come by often, so that's why I feel like I can keep that as a separate one. And I accidentally sold my quality weapon right there. I probably shouldn't have sold it there, because if I didn't sell it there, I could keep it and sell it later when I could combine everything to 40. I've actually never seen frost blades. So let's read this. Attack with increased range, releasing icy blades from the struck enemy that fly out to other enemies. It requires melee weapons, so it's not something I'm looking to use. 2 additional projectiles deals 101.2% of base damage, 40% of physical damage converted to cold damage, 14 to melee weapon range. But I'm going to pick up Ice Shot here. I love just using Ice Shot, and it's one of the main skills that I've always used when it came out. So I actually don't even want Burning Arrow on, because Burning Arrow will then level up, and then I maybe can't use it with another character. It's not a big deal, but it's one of those small things that you will notice as you go through the game that might affect it. But reasons you can level up random gems are, if they're good gems, you can sell them for a good price to somebody else in the game if they are willing to pay. Oh, okay. I've actually never seen this either. Okay. Superior items are always good to pick up. I normally try and pick up as much as I can when I'm starting out, because I will need the Scrolls of Wisdom. And when you level up, it restores all your health and all your mana. So be weird, and all your pots, or your potions, I should say. So just be aware of that when you're playing. It's a small thing that will make everything just a little bit easier on you, because this game's a lot about the small things, and it might not be so much about the big things that you expect from games, because this game is very intricate with everything that it does. It doesn't just let you get away with playing it. You've actually got to try and learn how to play it, otherwise you won't survive very long in the later rounds of the game. Especially if you are wanting to play a hardcore. Hardcore is going to be a little different than standard, because, you know, standard I can just kind of do this and just stand here and hit them, not really care right now, because I'm not afraid to die. I'll just respawn at town and come back here. The only parts where it sucks is really if you are deep within something and you don't have the teleport pad close, and then you kind of just have to walk back there. And sometimes these, even with the maps, sometimes these can be really confusing. So that's going to be interesting, or that is the only interesting part in dying. You just have to find your way back, which most of the time isn't hard, but when later in the game, not very far into it, you get teleport scrolls. And the teleport scrolls will help you keep track of your position because you can teleport to and from one position one time in the game. After you teleport once, the portal will go away. Or if you teleport to some other place, the portal will go away. So that is, and if you teleport back to town, it full heals you. So if you're playing hardcore, that is something that you use often to keep yourself from not dying. And I took a lot of damage from this area because she is one of the second bosses you might encounter, but you won't necessarily encounter her unless you explore the entire area and actually find her, because she's not in one of the spots where you have to go. It's just kind of a convenience or an inconvenience if you find her. She's not that hard to kill. It's just more you just have to learn how to dodge and shoot and go, or melee attack and go, because she will keep just raining down the fire and trying to kill you that way. So it's more of the items she gives you. She gives you immediate, she gives you decent items. So what I'm going for with my armor is going to be the evasion rating. That one's not too good. It gives me strength, but it's overall better for me because it has evasion on it. And I am not going to be using this rusty spike because it is obviously a melee required weapon, and I am using a ranged skill. So an advantage of using a ranged skill is you can hit people from on top of ledges, and they really can't do anything about it unless they're archers. But most of the time they can't do anything about it. Like that guy was kind of just stuck there while I was just hitting it. So that's one big advantage of the ranged weapons. And you can do this with the magic too, or the intelligence, where you just range them out and they don't get close to you. The reason why I prefer the range over the magical is because range is just so much easier to control. Some of the magical like spells are just hard to control. I got a glass blower's bauble, which is really good because these are not that common, but it improves the quality of a flask, so I can get like 1% quality on one of my flasks, which I don't need yet, so I'm just not going to use it. And then I've finally found the portal scroll, which creates a portal back to town, which I already talked about. And then there's going to be these. They're just lore about the game, so I normally listen to them.
With the force of destiny. At his beck, the greatest war host in Karui history tamed the wild sea, their canoes coupling with the land one by one. Lion-eyed gemlings met us with shining metal and bold words. Hyri's arrows withered their pride, Calm's axis silenced their despair. Marseilles Lion-eye fought bravely to the last. Calm honored him with a place on his belt.
One of the bad things is you can be attacked in them. And it looks like the servers just froze. So this is a little bit of a problem. Sometimes the servers are a little jumpy, but again, that just comes with it being a free game. And they're still working on some of the bugs. There's often patches about this game, so you just gotta go with it. But overall, you kind of just ignore them and go with it because it's an extremely fun game. And see, these are the waypoints. I can click on it, and travel back to Lionel's Watch. And I'm here. Got full health, all mana potions back, and I can easily just go stash all my items. So I will go over to the quality armor, drop this off, and that off. And normally what you want to do is put the 3 height ones on top of the 2 height ones, because then it maximizes space. And you could have 3, 2, 3, 2, and then another 2. You can put it here, but it just doesn't look nice to me. It keeps me organized in a better way, I guess. So I like doing it that way, but it's just personal preference, really. I also got a transmutation orb upgrade a normal item to a magical item. A magical item would be like a blue item, like this one. It has 1 or 2 abilities. Well, this would be a rare item. A lot of abilities, and it generally is better, but it generally is harder to find. So this would be the next area you would generally go to, is the Tidal Island. But first, I normally type in remaining just to see. Has more than 20 monsters remaining. If you want to go find them, you can. But I'm just going to go ahead and cross into the Tidal Island. And then this is an area you will have to have cleared space for, because at the end of it you will pick something up that is a quest item. And with low dexterity, I was not hitting him properly. So it kind of sucks when when you're starting out with a ranger. Kind of stinks because you're not actually hitting them very well. You are missing often. You don't do as much damage as you possibly could. And I will use my level up here in a little bit. I'm not using it now because I just want to clear space, because they can attack you while you're leveling up and potentially kill you if you're not paying attention. So another thing is, when you're playing this game and you're in a tight spot, you don't want to leave the game, because there's no pause button, because this is you'll have to use like a teleport or a waypoint back home if you would prefer not to die. Now, dying really has no consequence in this game, until you have to find your way back to somewhere very far away. Then it just really sucks, because you literally have to walk forever. Okay, I cleared enough space out. Like I said, I'm probably going to go the projectile damage over the speed. And you can normally hear when people are coming. So if you're leveling up, it's not unsafe. It's just not something that you would always want to do. It's never the right time to do it. It's just, you just have to clear out the area first to get what I am talking about. Or if you play this game, you would understand that it's not the most important aspect of the game, but it's something you're gonna have to realize that you don't want to do, especially for hardcore. Now, there was a storyline back there that I will go back and get, just clearing out the area, hopefully, so nobody will attack me again like last time. I think this is pretty clear, so I'm going to click on it, and then we will listen to the story.
Calm has removed the eternal stain from this coast. The Empire's citizens decorate our meeting houses with their heads. Our warriors build homes for our families. Our families till the earth, fish the waters, fill the air with song. The Cardui Way is yet a seedling here, but it grows, gains in pride and power every day. Calm has kept his promise. The time of the Cardui has come.
So all those story pieces have unique pieces with them. So if you find them all, it kind of just puts the story together. which is a really unique part of the game. And here's another one of the mini bosses.
My mana is gone.
Which he does ice damage, so you kind of just have to stay away from him, otherwise you're going to be slowed and he'll catch up. But once he's one-on-one, you're going to have a little bit of a difficult time with it, because he's actually pretty tanky, but as long as you have a few health potions and at least one mana potion, you're good. So this medicine chest is what you'll need to pick up. Quest items are usually in blue. I say usually, but not always. And then you will always want to pick up the medium life flasks and switch those around. I shouldn't have technically kept this glass blower's bobble on me, because that takes up a little spot that I could use for something else. Now you don't have to identify these, but I always like to identify them, just because I would like to know if I would like to keep them for another character or not. But most of the time I don't end up keeping them, because a lot of them aren't what I am looking for. This battered helm is overall better than that, so I will just drop that. These rawhide gloves are overall better for that, for me. And I will be on my way. I am going to still clear this place out, just because I don't like missing out on experience anywhere. But if you wanted to, you could just teleport home afterwards, or to the main spot again, and just go back and just be done with this place, and then run to the next area. Because this place isn't the most fun. This place is actually pretty boring. But some of these people can drop pretty good loot, like these superior items. I want to take those just so I can get quality gems, or armor scraps, or blacksmith sweatstones, which will increase the quality of my armor or weapons. Because then I can start upgrading my own weapons to level 20. I can start making my own weapons significantly better, and that will make things a lot easier on me later in the game, so I don't have to find these items, or if I don't have enough for late game, then I can stock up now, and then you can go from there. It doesn't have to be right exactly on 40 if you are looking for the quality items. It can be above 40, it can be exactly right on 40. It can basically be wherever above or on 40. You just have to do the math, or just keep putting them in. Now that I found the coast again, I'm just going to leave. Then I'm going to probably go back to this waypoint. I am going to go back to this waypoint, and just go back to Lionized Watch. Then I will put everything in my stash, sort it the way I want it. Armor. This is pretty good, but I don't want to keep it because I normally don't use shields. So I'm just gonna sell that when I get the chance to. Four tall items are always the most awkward, because I don't really know where to keep them unless you get two. If you get two, then they're not as awkward because they fit together, and you still have room for a couple items that you can fit to make it even, and you can min-max space that way. And then you should get a medium life. I normally pick up this Quicksilver flasks, but I haven't found a mana flask recently. But the Quicksilver flask is just so good at this stage. And you won't. Those are more rare to find than most things. So I'm just gonna pick that up for now, and then put everything back in the storage. These will combine as soon as you hit that last number to make whatever it makes into. Like, these will turn into orbs of transmutation, alteration orbs, and scrolls of wisdom. So it's all just depends on what you're looking to sell for. Like, I don't need to sell this, but there's really no point in me keeping it right now. And I would rather have the extra Scroll of Wisdom.
So,
So this you should also get another quest from. It's optional, but you always should do this quest, this optional quest. It's a little annoying, but and this is actually where I'm going to stop for this episode. It's been about 30-40 minutes of length in this episode, so I will continue this episode in the next episode. So thanks for watching and hope you enjoyed.